boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Prime Video's rated R superhero television show, The Boys, Season 4, Episode 1, 2, and 3, which dropped for our viewing pleasure just past Thursday, June the 13th. This is a show that I have loved from beginning to end, all the way but going back to the first season, first episode. Every episode it's just perfection in my humble opinion. I love this show. I never read the Boys comic book, which this show is based on, of course, but I know a little bit about a little bit. I wasn't, I'm not a aficionado on this source material to whereas I can pick apart certain things. Oh, that's not like the book. Oh, that's not how the story goes, and so on and so forth. That's not my thing. I am going into this like a lot of people going into this with fresh eyes, and I love it that way. Sometimes I wish it was that way when it comes to certain comic books that I read growing up. The mainstream ones, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, all that good stuff from Marvel and DC. But unfortunately, that's how I have to approach it. Now, with this material, going into it fresh, just like another Prime Video property, Invincible, I go into that not knowing much about the source material. And so it feels good. It actually feels good going into it blind, and I enjoy it more. And I've enjoyed this show for 3 consecutive seasons. And so now we arrive to season 4, and all bets are off. I really thought that after season 3, what more can we tell? What more story can we tell after that season ended? You know what I'm saying? The creators of this show initially just pitched 3 seasons or possibly 2. I can't remember, but I know they're going beyond what they initially planned to do because of the show's popularity and how it is widely received. So they're keeping it pushing. Now, spoiler, they greenlit a 5th season, and that is the final season. They already said that season 5 will be the last season of The Boys, and I think that's smart. Just going 3 episodes deep into season 4, I feel that's a smart idea. Reason being, not because it's bad, because I'm enjoying these first 3 episodes thus far of season 4. Is That's a good reason why to leave, for the simple fact you want to leave people happy. You don't want to overstay your welcome. I'll use the example of The Handmaid's Tale. I enjoyed The Handmaid's Tale, that show that's on Hulu, starring Elizabeth Moss. Loved that show for the first 2 seasons, but after that, it just went into territory that I was like, why are we still doing? Why are we still doing this? It's not even Handmaid's Tale anymore. They overstayed their welcome. And so you don't want a show to jump the shark, that old television moniker that they put on shows that just go past their peak, so to speak. And so before we get into the first 3 episodes recap and review, let's recap what took place in season 3, because I had to be reminded. It's been so long. It feels like it's been 2-3 years maybe, and it could have been. I didn't check the date on it, but it feels like it's been forever since season 3 ended. And quite honestly, I forgot a lot. I did. I forgot a lot. But season 3, it took place a year after season 2 events, of The Boys, and we find the boys seeking help from Soldier Boy, who was this, I guess you could say, deranged Captain America, if you will. And they wanted his help to take down Homelander, who we later found out in the during the season that he is actually he being Soldier Boy is Homelander's father. And so Homelander, he reaches his breaking point after Soldier Boy disavows him as his son. And we see that Huey and Butcher, they're getting high off of this deadly what is it called? V compound. And Huey is taking it because he feels intimidated by Starlight's power. It's because they're dating and she's more powerful than him. That macho stuff. We can't have the woman being more powerful than us. So he's taking it for that. Butcher is taking it because he wants to be powerful enough to destroy Homelander. And we find Homelander, he's just lost it. He was already, deranged from jump, but he has completely lost it. And his supporters, they completely love it in return. Butcher, he's dying now because of him taking so much of this compound V. Starlight is now one of the boys. She has left Vault. She's one of the boys now, helping them. Victoria Newman is actually the adopted daughter of Stan Eggert, and she's now a vice president candidate. You have Stan Eggert. He wants to legalize that V compound, that temporary compound. A lot takes place, but not to mention that Victoria is also a suit. She's been hiding the fact that she's a suit. And so you had all that going on. You had the deaths that took place in season 3. Black Noir is dead. Homelander kills him. Stormfront, the love of Homelander's life, dies in season 3. Supersonic dies. Well, Homelander just completely demolishes him. Queen Maud, she isn't dead, but she's gone. After the fight with Homelander, and Homelander ended up, I think, taking her eye out and everything. It was brutal. But she's off with her girlfriend. She's left. So I expect her to come back. I don't know if it'll be this season, but I do expect her to pop up soon or eventually. We left off finding out that Butcher is dying. He only has a few months, maybe a year to live. Homelander murders a supporter at this rally, just laser beams his head completely off. And instead of there being an uproar, people cheering him on, and that's how we end. That's how we end season 3. And so we get into season 4 here. And in case you don't know what The Boys is by now, even though we're 8 minutes in here, The Boys is a satirical superhero television show, and it stars Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, Anthony Starr, Aaron Moriarty, Jesse T. Usher, Chance Crawford, Laz Lorenzo, and many, many more. This show follows a team of vigilantes as they combat superpowered individuals who abuse their powers. Season 4 is picking up where we left off from season 3. I must say this: the subtlety is gone in this. The subtlety is gone. In the previous 4 seasons, or the previous 3 seasons, I should say, it was very subtle on the commentary on this show, depicting America and the media and the politics of this country and everything surrounding it. It was very, very subtle. Not these first 3 episodes of season 4. They just said, forget it. We're just going to show it and put it out there for you, and this is what it is. Let's just say that we're getting a different approach to the storytelling in this season, a little different from what we got in the previous 3 seasons, which were excellent, and this is excellent as well, just told differently. We start off here with our 2 leads here, our leading protagonist and our leading antagonist, both going through similar situations as they both are kind of contemplating their mortality. More so with Butcher, who has been given a date, so to speak, a time frame in which he will be alive, and Homelander, who is kind of confronted with this midlife crisis, finding gray hairs on his in his pubic area, and being faced with mortality, and he's going through this crisis. And the performance by Anthony Starr throughout these 4 seasons has been stellar. The fact that he hasn't walked away with an Emmy for his portrayal as Homelander is a crime. It is an outright sin that this man has not walked away with a best performance by an actor in a television series. Is ridiculous. I don't even know if he's been nominated. I think he did once. But the dude has been doing God's work as Homelander. An amazing performance. A Superman with an ego complex and don't care, who gives 0 F's. Man, and he plays it perfectly. And especially when you link it up with the current state of this country and our political figures who have similarities to him, i.e. Trump. In case you thought I was going to dance around it, no, I'm not. He is Trump with superpowers, but you can still strip it away with the power thing. Too much power is too much power. That is too much power for one man to have, and he has it. And he showed it in this first episode when the other 7, the other group, with the Deep, A-Train, Black Noir 2, because he killed the first one. All of them gathered around the table, and they're basically a bunch of yes men. And up to the point where this was frustrating her, Homelander, when he tells the Deep to go perform fellatio on A-Train. And he actually was going to do it until Homelander stopped. And it was just to prove a point. You would do anything I tell you. None of you have the chutzpah to challenge me. And it's driving me crazy. And nobody would challenge him until he stumbles upon another soup who is willing to challenge him. And he goes and recruit her. And that is Sister Sage. And this is a new character for this season. And probably the biggest threat to the boys since the beginning. A bigger threat than Homelander, because she is the smartest person in the world. They keep calling her the smartest woman in the world, but she corrects everybody who says that she's the smartest person in the world. And she is. And I never thought somebody's brain can be so threatening. In the way that this character is written, the way that this character is portrayed by Susan Hadworth is amazing. Is amazing and is menacing without her being menacing. She's not menacing. She's just smart. And she's smarter than everybody. And including Homelander. And that draws respect from Homelander. Because she doesn't back down from everybody else does. Everybody else is intimidated by him. She's not. And she's smarter than him, and he knows it. And she would tell him that she is. But he has to accept it because he needs her. He needs her. But I love this character, man, because it is a character that is going to be a thorn in our hero's side this season, because she doesn't have superpowers to the extent of super strength, super speed, laser vision, or things of that nature. It's just her brain. And that's worse, because you can outrun somebody that's stronger than you. You might can outsmart somebody that's faster than you, but how are you going to outsmart somebody who's smarter than you? Who knows your next move, who knows your next 7 moves. So it's hard, and they did a good job with how this character is presented to us. But like every other character or any person, there's a flaw. All characters have flaws, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, how it's laid out for us as this season goes along. The character of Butcher is dealing with this, you know, reality that he's going to die. He's going to die in a few months, and the reality of all the stuff he did in life, and he's contemplating on what he has done in life. What legacy is he leaving behind, if any? You know, and he knows that he has done nothing right in his life. And the one thing he wants to get right is to save the life of Ryan, who is Homelander's son, and coincidentally his wife's son as well, after sexual assault from Homelander on Butcher's wife. If you watch the show, you know that. But he he wants to save Ryan from becoming his father, and he wants to do that before he died. That's the one thing he wants to do. That's the one thing that he's driven to do before he leaves this earth. And I am feeling that wholeheartedly in this first 3 episodes here, because we know that this is going to be his driving force this season before he dies. This is not to find a cure or nothing like that. This miracle cure, none of that, which probably is going to pop up. Who knows, you know? But as it stands right now, that's not his focus. He's come to grips with it, even though he's scared of it. He later admits that in episode 3 to Ryan, that he is scared. He is truly scared of dying. Even though he acts like he's not. And it's gonna be a journey, an emotional journey, I feel. So get ready for that. Get ready for that this season of The Boys. One of the other many subplots that has caught my interest this season, we have the dilemma that poor Frenchie is going through here. Poor little Frenchie is in love with this gentleman who we later found out that Frenchie is the one who murdered his family. And the guy, I think his name is Colin, he's not aware of that. He's not aware of that, and he's constantly trying to get close to Frenchie, but Frenchie ain't, he's pushing him away because of the guilt. The guilt that he killed not just one or two members of his family, his entire family. He's responsible for making Colin an orphan, to driving him to the point where he became a drug addict. And that's where they were reintroduced at this rehab facility where Frenchie went to get off of his addiction, and he ran into Colin. And it was like karma, you know what I'm saying? And one thing led to another. Boom, they fell in love with each other, and it's like, man, it's going to be brutal. And now it's eating him up, literally eating him up from the inside, to the point that he has gotten back on drugs, and he is killing himself because of the guilt of being with this person, not just being around him after you've murdered his entire family years ago, but the fact that you're actually in love with him. That is brutal, man, because that's not going to end well. My bad is not going to cut it in that conversation. It's not going to happen. And so you have that subplot. You have the subplot with the new character, Firecracker, who is this kind of a right-wing, I guess you could say Alex Jones, female super powered version of of that person. Firecracker has a deep rooted hatred for Starlight, and has been preaching this propaganda against her, and everything that Starlight stands for, she is tearing down on her little video vlogs, or whatever the case may be, whenever she gets an opportunity to discuss it. And we find out later that Starlight, when they were younger and in these beauty pageants and whatnot, or whatever the case may be, uh, Starlight started a rumor about a firecracker that ruined her, that completely ruined her. You know, that she was sleeping with the judges or something to that effect, and caused her to leave the pageant circuit and whatnot. And, Starlight is trying to be, apologetic about it, that she's not that person anymore. She was young and she was under the influence of her mother and this, that, and the third. But Firecracker, understandably, don't want to hear that. She don't want to hear that. It's too late. It's too late. My life is ruined now. And so there's that. Then you have the A Train debacle, where he is a double agent, I guess you could say, uh, feeding information to the boys. But there's another conflict there, because let's not forget, it was A Train who killed Huey's girlfriend in the very first episode, probably the first 5 minutes of the show. Uh, Accidentally, he didn't mean to kill her, but he killed her, and there was no remorse, and that was the whole issue. And so you have that. Look, it is a lot going on this season so far, but not in typical boys fashion. There's always a lot going on, but they find a way to carve out the perfect amount of time for every story, every subplot going on in a season, and for it all to come to a crescendo by the end. Everything gets tied up for the most part. Of course, there's that continuing through line that has been going on since the very first episode in, the very first season. And so there's that. But I mean, as far as the other kind of branches that break off from it storyline wise, really good job so far. Really got my interest. You would think, with this show taking such a long hiatus, but there's always a little hiatus between seasons when it comes to the boys. And as of late, television period, not just the boys, it's always been a gap there. It isn't 1 year, it's like 2-3 years. But I can accept it if you take 2 or 3 years and get the story right and get us right back on this train like we never hopped off it in the first place. I am enjoying The Boys season 4 so far. I'm excited for what we have coming down the pike this season with this show. Like I said, so many different storylines. I didn't even touch in on the Deep and his kind of emotional cycle that he's going through. The what's the CEO? I forgot her name. Ashley being quote unquote belittled by by Homelander in the 7, to whereas she has to take a back seat now. Everybody's standing up to her. Now she's contemplating quitting Vault and all this here. There's a lot going on, but not too much. It's not too much. I'm excited. Super excited, if you can't tell. But I would love to know, how are you feeling about The Boys season 4 so far? Are you excited for what's next, or what's to come? Let's not forget, we still have Gen V. I think season 2 is coming soon. That's linked up with this show as well. And will season 1 of Gen V play a part into this season of The Boys? That'll be interesting to see, because we left with some really interesting stuff actually in the first season of Gen V. So this is going to be interesting, but we shall see. But I would love to know, how are you feeling these first 3 episodes of The Boys of season 4? You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget to subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, and like this video if you don't mind. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about the 5 stars, the sharing this show on all of your social media platforms. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap, if you will. It wasn't so much of a review, but it was more of a recap of the first 3 episodes of season 4 of The Boys, which is currently on Prime Video. New episodes drop every Wednesday on Prime, week to week. So we should be good for the rest of the summer on Wednesdays, at least. But everybody, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.